So many people are stepping out into the light, into the spotlight, and claiming and creating their personal brands. And while this is really exciting for some people, it can also be really daunting for others. So in this video, I'm going to go over the 9 musts, absolute critical musts when building a personal brand. So before we dive into the meat, I want to really define what a personal brand is. Your personal brand is your unique, personal, individual essence. It is your reputation. It's who you are. It's what people feel and experience when they think of you, when they come into contact with you. That is your personal brand. Now that we've defined what it is, I want to dive into the meat here. So I've got these 9 musts, and the first one is going to sound a little bit wonky, okay? So bear with me here because I put all these together intentionally for you to build a powerful, successful personal brand. So the first one is to marry yourself. Yeah, marry yourself. And this may sound scary to some people, and this is what I mean by it. Marriage is a long-term, unconditional commitment. Your commitment to yourself and your brand gets to be the same. You're in it for the long game, for the long haul. And a lot of people will get sidetracked by, shiny object syndrome, and they'll sacrifice their long-term branding for short-term gain. So it's really important to always prioritize your brand over sales, because long-term branding always beats short-term sales in the end. Trust me, all the money, all the results will follow, but you must first have commitment to building and creating and staying true to your personal brand. And a lot of people, they mess up right here at step 1. I see things like I said, sacrificing their brand for getting involved in something that is not in alignment with who they are and not in alignment with their core values. Also, a second way I see this is partnering with people who are not in alignment, partnering with people who are out of alignment with their core values. Another third way that I see this is by giving up when times get tough. So think about a marriage. When things get tough, do you just dip out and leave? No, you seek counsel, or you receive support, or you work harder. You lean into it, right? So when things get tough with your brand, I always say that in those moments is the most opportune, best time to invest in yourself and invest in your brand even further. So I've always had a mentor, a coach, someone to guide me along when times do get tough, and to be there to see my blind spots, right? And help me become and evolve into an even greater and better version of myself. Those are the 3 ways that are really, really important into commitment and marrying yourself and your personal brand. Okay, so let's get into the second must. Pick one thing. I see, and I talked about this just before, this shiny object syndrome. You're giving 20% here, 20% there, 10% there, and you're giving 100% nowhere. Okay, so focus, pick one thing and become an expert at that one thing. Be known for that one thing. Commit to that one thing. And I'm going to talk later on about what it would be like to pivot or evolve that thing. But right now, what I really want you to focus on is focus. Really focusing on picking one thing and sticking to it. The third thing is authenticity and vulnerability. Let people in to see the true you. When you let people in to see the imperfect human parts of you, they're able to connect to you on a human-to-human level. They can relate to you. You're deepening connection and you're creating trust. You're cultivating trust with your audience. People can sniff out fake so much quicker than ever before, you guys, and it's such a turnoff. So when you're raw and authentic and vulnerable, you're really standing out in a lot of today's content that you see out there. So be authentic always, especially with your personal brand, you guys. This is what's going to carry you forward in creating a strong, powerful brand in the future, is if you're always staying true to yourself and staying true in every single way that you present yourself with your audience. Okay, the 4th must is be consistent. Be your word. If you say you're going to produce content every week, produce content every week. Make sure that your clients, customers, and your audience can rely and count on you. Count on you to be your word. This is so important. I always say consistency compounds. Right? Consistency compounds. Say it with me. Consistency compounds. Okay? You will create a super powerful brand the more consistent you are and the more you are your word. Okay, number 5 is create currency content. okay? Currency content is high value content. Okay, think about this. Time is money, and consuming content takes time. So make sure that the content you're producing is worth the time and attention people take to consume it, period. That's what currency content is. The question you should be asking yourself all the time is, would people pay for the content I'm producing? Number 6 is share your personality. Give people a 360 view of you, your goofiness, your spunkiness, your quirks, all of it. Let people in, give them a 360 view. And a lot of people don't do this because they're afraid of judgment. They're afraid of what people are gonna think of them, which leads me perfectly into my next point, which is you must, when building a personal brand, have thick skin. When people will judge, people will hate, it happens. And actually the bigger you get, the more hate you're gonna get. Think of Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres, for example. They have millions of haters, okay? Because they're big. I let haters be a measurement to my success and my results and my impact. The more you impact, the more haters you're gonna get, period. So the more you come into terms with that, the less it's gonna affect you, right? You gotta get to the point where all of that just drips off your back like water. Okay, you want to be relentless in the pursuit of your vision, your goals, and your personal brand. You can't let judgments and what other people say stop you. Actually, let it forward you. I actually let a lot of the hate that I get, I let it forward me into creating some kind of purpose-driven content, right? So I transform pain, because it might be painful at first when you receive it. I transform pain into purpose. And I let it forward me in creating a powerful piece of content where I get to stand and speak my truth. Number 8, and this kind of goes with that very first point, talked about marrying your brand, okay? So also know that your brand evolves with you. A lot of people come to me and they say, well, actually, I don't know if I really want to invest in my personal brand because what if I want to pivot and change directions? What if I don't want to do this line of work forever? And I say, okay, and what if? And this is the thing, guys. As we said in the very beginning, right? We established what a personal brand is, the definition. A personal brand is not what you do. It's who you are, okay? Think about, like for me, for example, I used to be in fitness, okay? Now I'm standing here talking about websites, branding, marketing, SEO, something totally different. But I've remained true to who I am along the way. That's why authenticity, consistency, all those things we talked about before are really, really important, okay? So know that your brand, as long as you're staying true to yourself and being authentic, your brand evolves with you. Okay, and the last must that I want to cover, and this is more a strategic growth strategy to really amplifying and growing and expanding your reach of your personal brand, is engage in authentic strategic collaborations, okay? People who are in alignment with who you are, what you do, collaborate with them. And when you step into these collaborations, when you find someone you want to collaborate with, make sure you're always asking yourself how you can provide value to that person. Always start with value first, always. This is really, really important because these people get bombarded all the time with these kinds of requests. So make sure that you're adding value and creating value for them first and cultivating a really strong foundation of a relationship with these people so that you can continue collaborating with them. All right, so those were my 9 musts to building a personal brand. I hope you found this content valuable. And as always, if you have anything to add to the conversation, please leave a comment below if you have any questions. I always respond to all of the questions I get. And I also wrote a blog post. I'm just going to keep going. I also wrote a blog post that goes more into depth on these 9 points, and you can read that as well. See, I'm showing the imperfect. Okay, I'm showing this to you guys. So you can read the blog post, okay? And also, as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.